Okay, so you got to hook them fast. So you can hook them with a bonus, with a prize, with free something. With, I've seen people give away iPads and give away phones, and just some kind of hook you have to have. Okay, so it could be anything, just something to hook them to the end. Okay, and then I start commanding attention. Usually I say something like, "Hey guys, if you got your cell phone out, if you got Skype, Facebook, you got to close it down. We need you. I need your attention." Okay, if you're not paying attention, none of this will help you at all. So you need to make sure you're paying attention. I'm trying to command attention. Then I qualify myself. So look, this is why I actually know what I'm talking about. Okay, and I share, for this one, I showed a picture of me sleeping just to be funny, kind of a pattern interrupt. And then I came back and said, look, I don't talk about this a lot, but I'm the king of high ticket sales. I did back-end sales for Dan Kennedy, for Bill Glazer, for Mike Filsaime, for Rank Kern, plus a ton of other marketers. We've done over 8 figures of high ticket sales. There's nobody in the marketplace better than me at high ticket sales, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. Boom, I just qualified myself. Okay, you guys got to qualify yourself. Why is what you do, why are you qualified to do this? Okay, why are you different than everybody else who's kind of teaching something like that? Okay, you got to qualify yourself and stick it out there so that people, they kind of get that. And then from there, I like to future pace and then say, well, here's, some of these slides are still me qualifying. So here's my qualification. I did a lot of things right. I did a bunch of things wrong. After doing this for 10 years, this is kind of what I figured out. And this is kind of leading back to get into my content. I discovered the hard way, but you're going to have a chance to cheat. Again, here's the hard way I did it. It was really hard and frustrating. Boom. And then this is where I switch to future pacing. Okay. I say, look, so future pacing, guys, just so you know, future pacing is I try to put them in a state where they can visualize what will happen when they've accomplished this thing. Okay. So if you ever heard me say on a webinar or anything where I'm like, can you guys imagine what it's going to be like someday when your business is up and running and you're making your first $1,000? Like, wouldn't that be awesome? So I'm doing future pacing. Okay, it's a concept from NLP where I'm trying to take you to a place in the future where you've already achieved your goals. Okay, so if I can do that, again, it's part of the intro. So right here I said, look, do you guys want an easy way that's going to require you to never pick up a phone? Like, can you imagine that? Like, making high ticket sales without ever having to pick up the phone ever. Like, what would you do with your life? What would you do different? Okay, what would, in a month from now when you're doing that, like, what's it going to be like? What's your spouse going to say? What are your kids going to think when all of a sudden their dad's at home and they're making twice as much money? It's pretty exciting, don't you think? Okay, boom, I'm future pacing him. All right, pushing him out into the future. All right, and then I kind of go back. This is just more. Again, the script is a framework, and I add things in between that just I want to, right? So this one, I just kind of bragged a little bit. For the last 14 days, I did over 6 figures in high-ticket products. I didn't pick up the phone. And then I like throwing in some kind of like FTC disclaimer, like results are not typical, this is not going to work, blah, 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 just to keep yourself kind of safe. And now I shift over here to the content part of the webinar, okay? Now I want to step back. One of the biggest problems that people make when they're creating a webinar or any sales piece for that matter, it can be sales videos, sales letters, webinars, everything, is because they're so in love with their product or their service and there's so many facets of it, they try to like sell somebody on every single thing that their thing can do, right? All the big benefits of it. In fact, one of our Inner Circle members, I was just reviewing his sales video, and he's crushing. They're doing, I think he did $1 million last year with their sales video. But I said the biggest problem with your sales video right now, the reason why you're converting it 1 or 2% versus 5 or 6% is because you're selling 4 or 5 different things. People have to believe 5 different things to want to buy your product. Okay, I learned this originally from Perry Belcher. He said that when he had sales letters that tried to get people to believe in 2 or more things, they always flopped. He said, if I had sales letters that just tried to get somebody to believe one thing, one core thing, if I did that, then they were successful. Okay? And I saw the exact same thing happen with me, you guys. I cannot tell you how many times, all the webinars I've done where I try to like, okay, to get somebody to buy this, they need to believe in this, this, and this. So I structure where I'm trying to teach them all these things. And you can't do it that way. That'll destroy your sales. Okay? It's the reason why when I first did this, it didn't work. I get on stage, I'm going to show you my 7 best things about how I make money. I show up 7 things and they're like, wow, I got a lot of value out of that. But I got 7 things I got to go do now. And they would never buy, right? So you have to figure out from your entire presentation, from everything you do, what's the one thing? Okay, what is that one thing that is going to change and just make, like the one thing they got to have. They have that one thing, it'll all make sense. Okay? If you look back here to my title, this was my one thing. Okay, one thing I learned from Dagan Smith that was powerful. He said that if your one thing should always be something like this. It should be how to blank without blank. Okay, how to, and then insert like what they want. Okay, so for the audience I was talking to, they all want high ticket sales. Everyone online right now is talking about high ticket sales. So how to instantly add high ticket sales to your sales funnel. Okay, that's what they want. But what do they not want? Okay, for my audience, they don't want to pick up the phone. Okay, so you do that without personally talking on the phone to anyone ever. Can you guys see that? So for your market, what is it? How to lose a ton of weight overnight without giving up carbs. Okay, do you see how that works? So that's usually what my one thing is tied to that, the how to without. If you can figure out how to fit it into that little template, that little formula, it's magic. Okay, so that's my one thing. So what's key about this is that this entire webinar is focused on that one key point. Okay, and every single thing else I talk about, the only goal of those things is to re-emphasize over and over and over again this one thing. Okay, does that make sense, you guys? Okay, so I'm not going to be like, I'm going to show you this and this and this and this. I'm showing you this, and then all these secrets, they tie back and they strengthen and they solidify that one thing. Okay, so again, here's my one thing. That was my one thing for this presentation. Then I come down here, now I'm going to reveal the 3 secrets. These are my 3 coaching points on this, okay? So secret number 1 is I can make more money in one day selling high-ticket products than I can in an entire month selling normal products. Okay, so that's my big secret. That's my first aha, my big thing I want to reveal to them. Okay, but what is this? Is that a new thing? No, all it's doing is it's strengthening the one thing. Okay, it's showing them how they can make high-ticket sales without picking up a phone. So secret number 1 is that you can make more in one day selling high-ticket sales an entire month selling normal products. Secret number 2 for me now was personally I don't have to sell any, or I personally don't have to sell anything because, which is a big plus because I hate the phones. Okay, so the second secret I'm going to show them is how they can do this without them ever picking up the phone. And then my third big secret is that you only need a little bit of traffic to make that work. Okay, most everyone's freaking out because, oh, it's going to take a ton of traffic and all this stuff to make this work. No, you only need a little bit of traffic to make this whole thing sing. Okay, so those are my 3 secrets. So I show those up front, like, hey guys, during this webinar, okay, I told you that we're going to talk about how to sell high-ticket things without picking up the phone. Now to do that, I'm going to show you my big 3 secrets. Okay, secret number 1 is this. Secret number 2 is this. Secret number 3 is this. So I kind of tell them what it is. Now I'm going to break into the content. Okay, now I'm going to show you secret number 1. So I come in and I say, this is what secret number 1 is. I can make more money in one day selling high-ticket products than I can in an entire month selling normal products. Okay. Now notice that my secrets are they're typically backwards from what most people are thinking or what most people believe. Okay, I'm trying to break a belief pattern. That's why down here you see break and rebuild their belief patterns. Okay. So most of the people I'm talking to, they're selling ebooks, they're selling network marketing opportunities, they're selling low ticket stuff. And so I got to break that first paradigm, that first belief pattern. Okay. So what I do is I got to break it. So the first thing to do is I break this pattern. Okay. I come and say, look, high ticket secrets, I say, look, for typical price, if you're selling $37 product and you want to make $5,000 a month, you got to sell 135 products. Okay, 3% conversion rate, that's 4,500 clicks. Okay, that's really, really hard. All right, and then I talk about to make $5,000 in selling a high ticket thing, I just got to sell one. Or if I'm selling a $25,000 thing, I just got to sell 1/5. Every 5 months, I got to sell one to make the exact same amount of money as it took you to make $37 product. Okay, so my goal is to break their belief pattern. Okay, I got to break this thing. You think that you have to sell $37 products. I got to break that thing, and I got to rebuild it with the pattern I want you to believe. Okay, and the pattern I want them to believe for this webinar, what's my pattern I want them to believe? I want them to believe, what's my one thing? They can do high ticket sales. That's my one thing. High ticket sales, high ticket sales. That's my one thing, right? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now I switch over to secret number 2. Secret number 2 is I don't personally have to sell anything because I hate the phones. Okay, so most of these guys who see people doing high ticket stuff, they're like, high ticket stuff seems awesome, but I gotta pick up the phone and I don't want to pick up the phone. I'm scared to talk on the phone to people. So that's their belief pattern. So what I gotta do, I gotta break that belief pattern and I gotta rebuild it. So for me, I try to break it this way. I said, here's 3 reasons why people like me should never ever pick up the phone. Okay, first off, I'm way too busy. I don't even want to answer my own support. I'm scared to death to be on the phone, and it's just bad positioning. Okay, most of these guys are like, yeah, I'm too busy too. Yeah, I'm scared. Oh, bad positioning. Sweet. Yeah, I don't want to talk to them anyway. Okay, I'm justifying their fears, right? So I'm breaking that belief pattern because they've always believed that they have to be on the phone. So I break that belief pattern, and then I start rebuilding it. So let me rebuild it. This is all you really need is 2 commission-based salespeople. You guys know what commission-based means? It means you only pay them when they make you money. Notice I said just 2 people, not 60. Okay, in the past I had 60 people and it was a nightmare, but I figured out a new way to do it. And this is how it worked. And I talk about this experiment. And then this is the old model, how we did it, the new model. So again, I'm breaking this pattern and I'm rebuilding it. Okay, and I'm taking them on the journey that I went through to rebuild it. Because I had the same pattern in my head. That's why I had 60 salespeople working for me, okay? So I'm taking them on the journey I went through to break that I had to go through to break my own pattern and how I rebuilt it. And I'm taking them on that journey so that I can help break it with them and rebuild it with them. Boom. So I started experiment. Here's how it worked and what happened and how we made $36,000 in a day and how we grew from there. And we got 2 salespeople and boom, 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 boom. And then I say, hey, you want to meet Robbie? And this is now where I went back to my initial hook, okay, where I did a hook to the end. I was like, you want to see the mini call center? And I put on my laptop webcam mic and I walked him into the other room. Now, typically I would do this at the end of the webinar, but for this one, it just tied into secret number 2, so I needed to do it then. Okay. All right. So there's secret number 2. And you notice, like, I'm teaching him cool stuff, but I'm not really teaching him anything. Does that make sense? Okay, but you're learning cool things because because what's happening is I'm breaking these belief patterns and I'm rebuilding them. And so while I'm not giving you any, like, here's step 1, 2, 3 on how to do anything, you're learning. Your paradigm has been shifted, which people they resonate with that. That feels like learning to them, right? And so don't feel guilty. Don't feel like you're not going to be teaching them stuff, because you are teaching them, but you're doing it in a different way that I think is a better way. To shift somebody's paradigm and shift the way they believe is way more powerful than here's step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, so you're teaching in a different way, and it's a way that sets up the sale. Okay, all right, now for me, I moved to secret number 3, which is I only need a little bit of traffic to make this work, about 100 clicks. Because what do most people think? I would love to do high ticket things, but I can't drive traffic. I can't send 1,000 clicks a day. You know, that in their mind, it's got to be this huge thing. So what I got to do? I got to break that belief pattern, and I got to rebuild it. So I start breaking. Let me show you how we do it. Boom, I take them to a case study page, then a homework page. This is how it works. Now, if I sell high ticket products, this is how it'd be, here's all. I just send 4,500 clicks to make my $5,000 a month. Plus, I got to spend money on those clicks, so I end up making almost nothing. Or selling high ticket things, check this out. If I sell $5,000 product, 1 out of 10 who apply are going to sign up for the $5,000 product. 1 out of 10 who visit the application page are going to apply. So 100 clicks equals 100 applications equals 100 buyers. That means all I've got to do is send 100 clicks a day, and I can make $5,000 a day. Is that awesome? And I start future pacing them. Imagine if you're selling $10,000 or $25,000 or $100,000. Think how much money that is. And imagine if you, instead of sending 100 clicks a day, what if you send 200 clicks a day? Or instead of 2, what if you send 300 clicks a day? Boom, and I teach them, right? All right, so there's the content. So you guys see how I structure that? It's all about, and you notice how like secret 1, 2, and 3, all they're doing is supporting the one thing, the one core focus of this entire thing. It's not new content. It's not the next thing. It's not anything else. Because I promise you, if 10 of you guys make a webinar and you come back to me, 9 of you guys are going to do this wrong. You're going to have the one thing, which is the first thing you're excited to teach. Then this will be the next thing, and the next thing. You'll be awesome teachers, and people are going to love what you're going to share. But it's not gonna result in sales at the end. This is how you have to structure your content to result in sales at the end. Okay. All right. Now from here, this is where we transition to the sale. Okay, and this is where most people start getting really, really, really nervous. The other day I was at this, someone that goes to church with me, they said, hey, we're doing this little party at our house. You want to come on over? And my wife got all excited. So we went to this party. I show up, and it was an MLM party. Now for me, I'm super fired up and excited. I love seeing people sell stuff. I love MLMs. And so they're pitching this thing, right? So they get up in this little room with like 10 people, and I got a big old grin on my face, and everyone else is like all nervous because they think they're getting pitched. And I'm so excited. And the person's talking, and they're showing it was essential oils, and showing the oils and how they work. And the content was amazing. Like you could tell they were so fired up and passionate. And all of a sudden, about an hour into it, the lady who's speaking, I see her start talking faster. And she starts talking faster, and she starts getting nervous, and her face turns red. She starts sweating, and she starts mumbling, and all these things start happening. And I just start laughing because I know she's getting so close to wanting to sell me something, but she's so scared. And all of a sudden she went, oh, and by the way, you can make money, blah, 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 blah. And then she ended. And if you want any more questions, then my husband's over there, blah, blah, and ended. And it was the most awkward thing in the world. And that's how most people do when they love the teaching part, and you transition to sell, they get scared, they get nervous, they get whatever that is, right? It happens to all of us. I've been on tons of webinars where people don't know how to transition from that to the next. And so in this webinar, I didn't use it, but traditionally, this is the way I transition. And for you guys, I would say this is probably the first webinar I haven't transitioned this way. And if I was to redo this webinar, this would be the one thing I would change about it, is this transition. It works. So I finished teaching the content, right? I teach this last thing about how much traffic you need. I show them, imagine doing this. And they're kind of in this future state where they're excited about the future. And I stop and I say, let me ask you a question. This stuff's been pretty cool, right? We've had a good time over the last hour. You've learned some good stuff. But But an hour is not that long. Like, how would you guys like to work with me directly, and where I can actually help you to implement what we just talked about? Boom, that's it. Let me ask you a question, and then kind of talk about everything that you just went over. How would you like help on this? Because guess what all of them are thinking at this point. I just do this whole future pacing about them making 10 or 25 or 100 grand. They're so excited. But then they get that feeling where it's like, wow, I don't know how to do that. It's going to be a lot of work. And that's when you come in and save the day. And you say, look, let me ask you a question. All that stuff we just covered, it's exciting, right? I mean, you just imagine 100K. Like, what would that do for you? What would that do for your life? Okay, it's pretty cool, right? Let me ask this question. Like, how would it help you? Like, as your teacher, as your coach, whatever, I want to serve you. Like, how would you like if I could actually help you implement this? And guess what everyone comes back and says? They come back in the chat box and say, yes, please, I want help. I love help. How can you help me? Help me. And then I like asking permission, like, okay, well, a lot of you guys want information. I've got something I can do that can help you, okay? Now, I know it's always awkward, like you're on this webinar and, you know, I do have something to sell, and if you guys are okay with that, I'd love to share it with you. If not, I won't. But if you want me to share it with you, let me know. People are like, yeah, share, and they start asking you to sell them, okay? And it becomes really easy after you transition past that, right? And now from there, I transition over to what I call the stack, okay? Now you notice the stack, you won't see it for a little bit here because the stack now is the framework that the rest of the presentation takes, and then these closes are closes that you sprinkle in between the stack, if that makes sense. So let me tell you what the stack is. So typically and I learned this from Armin Moore, and I will give him 100% credit. He's made me, like literally this stack has made me over $10 million in direct sales I can tie back to this concept I'm going to teach you right now, called the stack. It was before I spoke, my first time speaking Armin's event, and it was 2 weeks before we were at a Dan Kennedy event. Armin got up there and he spoke to an audience of 1,000 people, and he closed like, I don't know, it was insane, like 30 or 40 or 50% of the audience. They ran back, and he did like, I don't know, it was just shy of $1 million in sales by himself. And I remember watching, I was just like, that was the coolest thing ever. And afterwards, he came up to me with this huge stack of order forms in his hands. He's like, you want a bunch of order forms like this next week or in 2 weeks when you speak at my event? I'm like, yeah, man, I totally do. Like, what do I got to do? And he said, I got to teach this little process called the stack. He's like, if you do it, you'll get a big stack of order forms. You don't do it, you're not going to make much money. It's like, that's just how it works. And I'm like, all right, well, how's it work? He said, this is the big secret. He said, most of the presenters, you watch the way they do their presentation, is they'll say, hey, the first thing you're going to get is this, and then you're going to get this, and then you're going to get this. And he keeps walking through all the stuff they're going to get. And then the last slide, they're like, this is bonus number 12. This is what you're going to get. And then they go over to the next slide. We're like, I'm going to give you all this stuff for $10,000. And then they start doing the price drop. Now what happens, he says, the only thing that the human mind remembers is the last thing they were showed. So right before you show them this big price, the only thing they remember is bonus number 10 or 12, whatever your last thing is you showed. And if that bonus doesn't justify that price in their mind, then they're not going to buy it. He said, so I invented this thing called the stack. He said, this is how it works. You can kind of see here. He says, I start my presentation and I stack like the first component, and I talk about it. And then, actually, I'll show you guys how it works down here. So when I did the stack, first thing I did is I showed right here. I said, let me talk about what you're going to get. Okay, first thing you're going to get is this. So I did the first stack. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to get this. And third thing you're going to do is this. Okay, if I was clicking through these, they're animated. Fourth thing you're going to do is this. Boom. So this is the total value of $8,000. So this is the core offer. Okay. So if any of you guys, are like, if you have your core thing you're teaching somebody, some of you guys, it's going to be 6 modules, or it's going to be 4 modules teaching blah 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 blah. That's what this was. This is my core offer, right? I'm going to show you how to set up a 2-step funnel, help you set up a mini call center. I'm going to give you the actual script to use. I'm going to give you Robbie in a box. Boom, there's the core offer, right? Now I'm going to start adding value. That's these little smiley face guys are. I'm adding value, right? So I'm going to give you this bonus, which is unlimited traffic. Boom. And I'm going to give you this bonus, which is our ads and our interviews, okay? So what that means is, now I stack this. That means you're going to get, I recap, the first thing I told them, the second thing, the third thing, the fourth thing. So I just resaid that. Then I say, plus you're going to now get bonus number 1, which is unlimited traffic, which is the $1,997 value. Plus you get bonus number 2, which is hiring commissions and more for $997. So now the total value of this package is $11,998. Okay, you guys have probably seen me do this before, right? Or you've seen other presenters, okay? It's kind of cheesy, right? But I go through and I start doing some of these other closes, and other closes, and then I come back and I add another bonus, okay? I'm going to give you this consult, a 30-minute consult with Robbie, which is the $2,000 value. And I come back, boom, boom, boom. I get the guarantee, boom, boom. Then I stack it again, which means you're going to get the 2-step funnel. You're going to get this mini call center valued at $2,000. You're going to, and literally, you guys, by the time you've done the stack like 5 or 6 times, you're going to be so embarrassed. And I remember the first time I did this at a seminar, people were laughing and it got kind of like ridiculous. But guess what? Everybody knew exactly what the offer was and they bought like crazy. So I don't not ever do this because it works so good. Okay. Component number 3, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you